Hello and welcome. This is part one of our series about the 6 best doctors for you, and it's all about Dr. Air. Air. Fresh air. How does it make you feel? You know that feeling when you finally step outside after being indoors for too long. It kind of gets a bit stuffy and heavy, doesn't it? And your body sighs, takes a deep breath in, even if you aren't aware of it. Your brain perks up. Your shoulders relax and drop down. Your lungs feel more relaxed and functional, and your whole body feels better. That's Dr. Air at work. It is your first and most faithful physician. Free, invisible, and available all the time. And yet we ignore it so often. We just expect our lungs to do what they know they need to do. And we often get into bad patterns with our breathing and our muscles and our structure, which restricts Dr. Air from working where it needs to get to, right deep in the lungs. But what do we actually mean about fresh air? Is it the air wafting around in the countryside? Is it air-conditioned, filtered or ionised? Or simply the stuff we breathe when we fling open the windows and hope for the best? What's your air like? For most of us, fresh air means being outside in nature, doesn't it? Under trees or near expanse of water, or just away from the constant hum of technology and the TV or traffic. But let's get personal for a moment. What does your local fresh air look like for you? When you step outside, are you going into a city street at rush hour? Are you going into a garden with damp grass and perhaps some birdsong? Maybe you're stepping out into a coastal breeze on a beach and you end up with tangled hair and saltiness. Or perhaps your air is a house that's filled with lavender and candle smoke and perhaps some pets who think that actually it's all just for them. Whatever your setting, wherever you are, your air quality affects every cell in your body. So don't you think it's worthwhile paying attention to that? We often don't realise that we're breathing until it starts making us feel tired and a bit headachy and sore, or a bit stuffy, or worse, plain ill. There is a not so fresh truth, unfortunately. Modern life means invariably that we are living in a nasty chemical soup. And we've often made it for ourselves. So between cleaning air sprays, air fresheners, pollen, smoke, car fumes, dust mites, and synthetic fabric conditioners that are supposed to smell floral, all of that could knock out a horse. And our lungs have to work overtime to try and work with this smog of chemicals to give you what you need. You can't even taste dirty air sometimes, but if you can, it has a metallic, bitter, heavy kind of consistency to it. It feels flat and de-energized. It's really not giving you vitality. And yet many of us stay sealed in our little climate controlled boxes, recycling the same stale oxygen, stale carbon dioxide and pollutants. And is it any wonder that we feel a bit groggy? So here's the science bit that's useful to know. Every breath truly is a biological miracle of life. Oxygen, one of the gases in our air, around about 21%, fuels your cells, powers your brain, and regulates every function in your body. The fresher and cleaner the air, the more efficient your system works. Poor air leads to tired, sticky lungs. That leads to tiredness everywhere. Clean air leads to energy, focus, vitality, and better moods. Which would you prefer? I know what I would prefer. So there are no fancy, expensive gadgets that you necessarily need, though some may be useful if you are in a particularly polluted environment. But being aware of how you're breathing and what you're breathing and taking small daily actions makes a big difference. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't some common challenges. Let's be honest, it's not always easy to find clean air, is it? City life gives exhaust fumes a whole cocktail of interesting chemicals and dust. Some of it also not very nice. Rural life sounds perfect, but there are pollens, agricultural sprays, harvest dust. It's not total a miracle, but it may be better than the city life. Indoor life in your box you might think is better, but we are surrounded by a concoction of molds, house dust mites, detergents, other chemicals from washing chemicals, even food chemicals, and our own helpful diffusers so that we don't notice we're living in a smog. And then there's you. Do you smoke? Do you use a fabric conditioner? Or do you love an air conditioner or even perfume so that you can smell like mountain blossom or eau de Givenchy? Surprise, surprise! That meadow may also be full of synthetic petrochemicals in disguise, and you're just not aware of it. So, what can you do right now? How can you upgrade the quality of the air that you breathe so that you feel better? First thing, grow green plants inside. Plants are your best allies, and because it is about bringing nature inside, they will give you other benefits too. One of the benefits is they produce oxygen and take out some of the carbon dioxide. Pretty cool. But they are also good at sopping up air chemicals that you don't want, negative energies. Ever thought of that? Even spiritual energies which are not supporting you. They are forgiving housemates. They give you a sense of purpose, and they need a little bit of care, but not necessarily very much. Some of the best ones that help with technical fog, spider plants, peace lilies. But if you find even those are a bit too much to cope with, you can get some air plants. or cacti, which take very little care and will do at least some of the same job. Vacuum smarter. By using a vacuum cleaner, because it's sucking air and pulling air through, it actually also throws up a load of dust into the air. But if you have one with a HEPA filter, that will help to massively reduce the amount of dust in your air and capture it into the vacuum cleaner itself. It traps microscopic dust instead of redistributing it, and then you feel as though you haven't done any cleaning at all. Please, please ditch fake scents wherever you can. Swap air fresheners and natural conditioners, plants. You can use herbs and essential oils. You can even swap out some of the chemicals that mask nasty odours with something quite natural, such as bicarbonate of soda. Little bowls of that in the room will absorb loads of nasty chemicals for you and doesn't poison your lungs. Hooray! We also, because we tend to live a lot more inside, our bodies and our rooms tend to be much less humid than our bodies would prefer. So spraying with a water mister, or putting, if you've got radiators, for instance, putting a bowl of water, you can get those clay hangers that you can put over a radiator. You just fill that up with some water and it slowly releases water droplets into the air and helps to humidify it more. This is especially important if you have certain lung conditions where it is much more difficult to breathe anyway. And the reason why is our bodies need to, I've forgotten what the word is, put the oxygen into our water that surrounds our lungs for them to actually absorb it. If you're in a really dry environment, it's less efficient at doing that. So adding some more humidity into the air, and plants do that of course as well, helps your lungs to function better. Open your windows, open your doors, let the fresh air in, even if it's only 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening, so that you get a shift around and a circulation of the air. First thing early and late is usually when the dust is less outside. Obviously, if you're in an area where there's agricultural harvesting going on, you might need to keep the window shut for a couple of days because there's so much dust or perhaps pollen in the air. And if you live near traffic, it's more difficult. But again, people aren't out early and late. So give everything a good airing first thing in the morning and then close the windows up if you're next to a really busy road or something like that. And then, of course, you can put a mask on if you're in a heavily polluted area or a high pollen day and you're susceptible to tearing up and hay fever. Protect your lungs if you need to, and when you come back inside to your slightly less polluted environment, wash your face, wash your hands, if need be change your clothes so that you're not bringing the dust and the grime in with you. And then seek out water sources. Seek out the sea, rivers, ponds, lakes. Anything that contains water will help to rebalance the ion in your system. And these help to increase your mood and your energy. And that's why the seaside is just so good for you, because it has lots of ozone at the seaside, which is three molecules of oxygen versus the normal 2. So those are, and the other thing that makes a really big difference when you're outside is, although it might seem counterintuitive, being outside when it rains is awesome for you. The humidity increases, the toxins and the pollutants get washed down to ground level, and it can be really invigorating going out in the rain. Of course, suitably dressed. So there are many benefits to breathing better, and Dr. Air needs to be treated with a little bit of respect, and then you will notice that you get more energy, more focus, fewer headaches and less brain fog, calmer emotions, better able to compensate and adapt, and sleep. You'll also get, if you breathe properly, healthier skin and lungs, and a subtle uplift in your spiritual energy too. You will start feeling alive again. Now, one of the things that they don't tell you is about how to breathe. How to breathe? Huh? You've been doing it all your life. I know. But have you been doing it correctly? Reason being, if you have had shocking events in your life, or you are currently particularly stressed and anxious, our nervous system and bodies go into a fear, fight, flight pattern. And when that happens, imagine you're running for a bus, okay, at the bus stop. Our breathing changes function. So you tend to, yes, you breathe into the bottom of your lungs, but most of your breathing is up here. You know, when you're feeling particularly anxious, yeah, you can see everything becomes tight in your neck. It becomes tight and restricted up around your upper lungs. That restricts your ability to breathe out. It's the biggest issue you have if you have a tendency to asthma or panic attacks. Okay? It's not the breathing in that's the issue. It's the breathing out, so there's more room in the container to breathe back in again. I know that sounds really silly, but it's true. And the other big difference and how the respiratory system operates is that we are designed most of the time, except perhaps when we're talking or really needing to increase our lung capacity, is to breathe in through our noses. If you are not breathing in through your nose most of the time, you are not taking advantage of part of the respiratory system, which is your nose and your nasal cavity behind your midface. And that warms the air, the hairs inside and the turbinates, which are parts of the bones, filter the air as it goes down through the back of the throat and down through the trachea into the root of your lungs and bifurcates into each lung side. When you don't breathe through your nose but you mouth breathe, this is what happens. Your jaw drops. You have more tension through here because your jaw is normally a little bit more closed. Your tongue comes forward. You don't use any of the immune functions through your sinuses and your nasal cavity to filter the air to start with. And in that process, you tend to increase the tension. That builds up over time, and it's something that's natural, common, but not necessarily wanted on a long-term basis. And it increases your general state of awareness and stress. It can also lead to sinus issues, more headaches, more migraines, etc. So learning to breathe through your nose only and keeping your mouth gently closed so that your teeth are not quite meeting but nearly helps your whole respiratory system to work better and Dr. Air to function better for you. So, a final breath of inspiration for you. You don't need to move mountains to breathe better. You just need to notice your air around you, nurture it to increase its quality, and make a few wise swap outs and learn how to breathe yourself. Start today. Open that window, step outside, fill your lungs. And when I say fill your lungs, often what happens is you say, take a nice deep breath in. Literally, that's not what I mean. When I say fill your lungs, I mean through your nose. And you feel almost as though you're filling your belly first, and then gradually the air fills the rest of your lungs, including your upper lungs here. So I'll show you. And you can see that my shoulders and upper ribs only move at the very last moment. And then to practice, you can hold your breath there for a count of 5. And then slowly breathe out. And that breathing out is fully breathing out. And then you pause and you repeat. So, Dr. Air is ready for their next appointment with you. There's no queue, and there's no bill, and there's no prescription. But they're waiting. Are you ready to just breathe? I hope so. Now, if you want to take this a little bit further and you found what I've already said interesting, please download my free resource for you, my daily dose, I can't say that today, my daily dose of health. It's a short checklist. It's a simple planner to help you track the small actions that build lasting vitality for your health. Because the best healthcare of all often starts with the simplest things. You can download it directly from alignedlaterlife.com. It's in the free resources section. And if you have access to a printer, I highly recommend you printing it out and putting it somewhere where you can see. That might be on the front of the fridge or inside a cupboard door in the kitchen that you open frequently. And if you're able to laminate it, even better. And then you can use a little marker pen to mark on where you've got to each day, erase it for the next day and start again. I hope that that's been helpful and that Dr. Air brings you the vitality that you so deserve. Take care for now. That's Gayle Palmer from alignedlaterlife.com, where your health is my priority. Cheers for now.